What's up, y'all? Welcome back. This is AXUMUS with DVNB. I'm DVNB. This is episode 106. So let's do a recap from 105. We talked about how I started school, went to pre-K, and started seeing how the other kids lived and what their life was like, and how I started comparing myself to who they were. And then, going home and asking my mom and dad, hey, if they do this, and why don't you guys do this? And then, on to the next year, kindergarten, started learning the alphabet and stuff like that. And that's when I really started, quote unquote, Americanizing myself by watching a lot of TV, and, culturing myself with the American ways and really connecting to my classmates in kindergarten. But for 106, we're going to backtrack a little bit because there's some important milestones in my early childhood that I want you guys to know about, because like I said in the last show, it's all about your roots. If you don't know your roots, you're not really going to have a strong future. So what we're going to do is we're going to backtrack to pretty much when I got to Childress, when I was around, a little bit past 2 years old. So that was like in 84, like the summertime of 84. So that means my brother was going to third grade. I think I said he started fourth grade, but he was already going to third grade in Childress. And my grandfather had brought me down there with my uncle when I first got to Childress as a baby. And then there's this Indian person that my dad ran into in Childress. Like, he came through town or something, and he pretty much persuaded my dad that there's some good boarding schools that are located in India that teach English very well and just have a real good education system, to where my dad was convinced to send my brother to India for fourth grade. And so my grandfather took my brother to India with him at like the end of 84, I think. And by the time they got to India and went to get the admission for that quote unquote good boarding school for English, they found out that he couldn't get admitted. It was all, it was just a lot of talk, no walk from that guy. So my brother ended up going to a regular school in the city where my dad grew up. And my brother was taught Gujarati and Hindi, not really any English. So all of fourth grade, my brother was learning the Indian culture instead of living in America. And the point of me telling you this is that as immigrants, we're not afraid to make a choice to better our situation. And the reason my dad sent my brother to India was to make sure he got the best education possible as a young person, because my dad always believed that being educated is the key to having a better future for yourself. And that's just another example of the aggressiveness of my pops, of how he has no fear in making a choice to have a better situation happen. So that's just an example and a piece of my story that you guys need to know, that we don't have no fear in any of our choices that we make, because any choice we make is to bring a better situation to ourselves. All the decisions we make in life is based on a better future. Has nothing to do with ego, has nothing to do with proving ourselves to another person. It's all about making a better situation for us. But my brother went to school for fourth grade in India, and after he finished fourth grade, he came back to America and started fifth grade back in Childress. And then during that year, you know, there's this one guy that stayed at the motel. His name was Robert Trimble. He stayed like on a weekly basis or a monthly basis. He stayed in room 101. And, you know, this is to show you that the universe always has a plan for all of us, but we just don't know the plan. But we got to roll with the flow of the universe to take all the blessings it gives upon us. And, you know, pretty much that guy Robert was like my dad's, you know, surrogate father, as in Robert would show him how to go about the culture in Childress and the surrounding areas and the other small towns, how to communicate better with, you know, with the customers and everything, and whatever my dad didn't know how to take care of at the motel, like for maintenance, Robert would show him. So my dad learned a lot from Robert. And then, you know, like a year later, my grandfather, my dad's dad, actually passed away in India. So, you know, my dad had to go to India and take care of all the funeral processions and all that stuff. So while my dad was gone, me, my brother, and my mother stayed at the motel. And then Robert was there. So Robert made sure everything was A-okay with us. So, you know, he came into our life a year before my grandfather passed away. So, you know, that's the point of showing you that, you know, the universe always has your back at all times. You just don't know it. But, you know, that's very important to understand in any of our lives, is that the universe always has our back. Even when the situation that happens is a bad one, there's always some good in it. So you just gotta look at life like that, and you'll get way further in life that way. And then let's see, there's another key part that I want to share is I came to LA a long time ago as a young child, and it was for a wedding for my mom's very close friend. And you know, we drove from Childress all the way to LA in our Pontiac Catalina, very old school car, very long body type of car. But I still remember coming here to LA when I was a little kid, and I remember I was hungry during the wedding, and I asked my dad, I was like, "Dad, can we go to McDonald's?" And he was like, "Yeah." So he asked one of the brother-in-laws that was at the wedding if there's a McDonald's nearby, and we were in Long Beach, in LBC, so they sent us to a McDonald's near us. And I still remember this. It's crazy. It's another example of the boldness of my pops, and it's showing you a little bit of his slickness too, which, you know, I got it in me too. So, you know, we're at you know, this is the late 80s, mid 80s, late 80s. So, you know, LA wild. It's real wild out here, right? So, you know, we sitting there at the booth eating our French fries and sandwich or whatever, and, you know, a bunch of big dudes walk in, a bunch of brothers, big brothers walk in, and one of them asked my dad, "Hey, you got a lighter?" And my dad was like, "No, I don't smoke." And so my dad's slick enough to know that, oh, he just wants to know what's in my pockets. So, you know, my dad, like, quickly, you know, threw all the food away that we didn't eat or whatever. Like, we was already done eating anyway. So we walked back to the Pontiac Catalina. My dad grabbed me and threw me into the car from the driver's side. And, you know, my dad got in, and I just noticed all these dudes was like trying to surround the car. And my dad just, you know, kind of hurriedly backed up out the parking lot and left. And then I asked my dad, I'm only 4 years old. And I asked my dad, like, "Dad, why did we leave?" He's like, "Oh man, he asked me for a lighter. He just wanted to know what was in my pockets. They was trying to see what I got in my pockets. He knows I'm not from here. So that's why we left so quickly." I was like, oh, Okay. So, that's just another example of, you got to be very observant of your surroundings and know who you are and where you are at all times. My pops know he's not from LBC. My pops know what goes down in LA at late night to strangers in someone else's community. So, you always got to be observant of where you are at all times. Because if you don't, you can get caught up real quick. And that's where we're going to end it today. Just a real quick one today. All right, so this is episode 106, AXUMUS with DVNB. I'm AXUMUS. Actually, I'm DVNB. I don't know why I said that. It's pretty late. Been working all day. So until next time, we'll see you then. Peace.